Hey, it's Jess. Welcome back. Today I'm here with another Way Back Wednesday where I will be talking about all the books that I read in March of 2023. Looking at my Goodreads, I read a total of 6 books that month. All of them were new, none of them were rereads. The first book I read in March was Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Trying to get it so it's not... It's gonna be shiny. Funnily enough, I don't know, coincidentally, I just read this book again, and it's March 2025. In this book, you are following Bree Matthews. She has joined an early admissions, University of North Carolina has a program for 16-year-olds to join and do, early college. So she's there. This is a young adult fantasy story about Arthurian legend, Knights of the Round Table. It's about root magic, blood magic, black girl magic, lots of magic. There's drama. There's some racism in it. Basically, Bree, who is black, infiltrates this secret society, which is the Knights of the Round Table, which are the Order of the Round Table. And when she goes to this party, the first time she's there, she is the only black person in this entire mansion. And there's a lot of people there. There's a whole plot. There's lots of plots in it. But anyway, I don't care about Arthurian legend. That has never been my thing. I'm not, I don't read a lot about it, don't study it or anything like that. Don't usually care about books about it. I love this book. This is the beginning of a series. The second one is Bloodmarked. The third book is Oathbound. It just came out March 4th. I don't care about the Knights of the Round Table, but I love these books. I think they're so amazing and they're so well written, and I recommend everyone reads them. I'm just having a day. I'm just, my life has been so freaking weird lately and busy that it's hard for me to get back into the swing of filming this. So if this video is all discombobulated and disjointed, I apologize. Okay, the next book I read was Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first Brandon Sanderson book that I had ever read. I read it first because I saw somewhere recommendation that you start Brandon Sanderson by reading Elantris, but now I don't think that I would say that. I ended up listening to this on audiobook because I tried to read it, and the names were hard for me to get my head around. So much is happening. I'm pretty sure this is his first book that was published, or the first book he wrote. You can kind of tell. I've read other books by him and really like them. I did like Elantris. I think I gave it a 4.5. I can't remember. It is about this kingdom where in this kingdom there is another little walled off part because a plague has been plaguing the kingdom, and if you come down with this plague disease, you get put into this isolated area and you're basically left for dead. You're kind of like a zombie, but the princess in this area, the princess of the kingdom, goes into Elantris. I think it's called Elantris. That's where it... I don't remember. I know it had to do with a plague and people trying to figure out how to cure the plague, because it's something about magic users come down with it. I don't remember. I'm sorry, my brain. I do remember that I liked it. I did really like this book. It was just, I read it so long ago, and it was thick. It was a 28-hour audiobook, so I read it a lot when I was I listened to it at the gym while my son was at basketball practice. Because, again, I tried to read it and I just couldn't read it. I had to listen to it because I just couldn't read it with my eyeballs. Moving on. The next book I read was Radiant Sin by Katie Robert. This is the 4th book in the Heroes of Olympus. No, that's Percy Jackson. In the Dark Olympus series. These are very different books. Radiant Sin, you follow Cassandra and Apollo? No. Hermes? Apollo. Apollo and Cassandra? It's a smutty, spicy book about Greek mythology. It's Cassandra and I'm pretty sure Apollo. Anyway, this is the 4th book in a series, so it's kind of hard to talk about because even though they follow different characters, they are all kind of intertwined together. Where you have this city, Olympus, that is ruled over by these 13 like leaders, which are the gods. They are called the gods of Olympus. And there's a lot of like political unrest, and this outside city is trying to infiltrate Olympus and take over some of the spots in the government. I can't think of the word. Like, they're trying to take the place, like they're trying to take the position of Apollo, or try to take the position of Hermes. Some of them are legacy positions where the only way you can get that title is by being born into the family. That would be Hades, Zeus, Poseidon. But the other ones, like for Ares, there was a competition to become the new Ares, and Aphrodite, I don't remember how you get that. Some of them you're elected to. So anyway, this is more about like the political unrest and the other city trying to infiltrate the government of Olympus. But it's also spicy and smutty. I didn't like this one as much as I've liked some of the other ones. And yeah, like I still like it. I love Greek mythology. I love Katie Roberts' writing. I think she writes spice very well. I just didn't care about this one as much. Okay, moving on. The next book I read was How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. This was his new release in 2023. In this book, you are following Louise and Mark. They are a set of siblings. Their mother was a puppeteer and a hoarder. And she has just passed away. So Louise, being the older sister, has to come in and like clean out the house, get it ready to sell. Well, there's a whole bunch of puppets still here. And if you weren't scared of puppets or freaked out by puppets or think puppets are weird, you probably would after reading this book. And there's one, her mother's like most famous puppet was called Pupkin, and Pupkin is there at the house. She can't get rid of him. And basically, like, it's her and Mark fighting, and because she's the responsible older sister, he is kind of just like the goofy younger brother. Doesn't want to take responsibility for anything, so Louise has to do all of it. Isn't that the burden of an older sister? One of my friends read this book and she said she didn't like it as much as I did. And I said, you're an only child. I'm an older sister with a very similar, not a similar brother, but like I'm the older sister. I'm the responsible one in our family. And so I very much felt this role while reading this book. Basically, Pupkin like terrorizes them. They're trying to figure out why they can't get rid of this puppet. They try to burn it. They try to throw it away. It keeps coming back. And they're working through their family dynamics. There is one scene in this book that is incredibly gruesome, and even though I read it 2 years ago, I still randomly think about it. And it involves, like, a saw. And it's very bloody and gross. Gross. I liked this book. I like Grady Hendrix's writing. I think he does a good job of, like, balancing horror and comedy and camp. I know that a lot of people, this was not their favorite Grady Hendrix book. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely, I mean, I enjoyed it. My favorite's gonna always be My Best Friend's Exorcism. I mean, I can't say it's always gonna be that, but I really like, obviously, because I have it right here, facing out, because I love it so much. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. I thought it was fun. Again, I felt connected to Louise as the older daughter that has to bear the burden of when your parents pass away, you are in charge of everything. And that is a big fear of mine when my parents pass away, that I'm going to be the one that's in charge of cleaning out their houses, selling the houses, setting all the funeral arrangements up, everything like that. So this one hit a little close to home for me. The next book I read was Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. This is the first Octavia E. Butler book that I had ever read. I listened to it as an audiobook. Highly recommend. It was a fabulous audiobook. In this book, you are following Dana. She is a woman, a black woman in the 70s. She has a husband, I believe, who is white. So, you know, interracial marriage, very still controversial. I don't understand why, because it's 2025, but definitely in the 1970s, very controversial. One day Dana wakes up and she has gone back in time and is like on a plantation. And has been, her life has been like tied to this child who is the son of a plantation owner. Obviously very scary because he is white, she is black. This is during the time of the slaves. And so she goes back and completes like a task with him. Something happens. And then she comes back to nowadays, which again, 1970s. And then she just, again, randomly goes back in time. So her life right now is being present in the moment. And then she never knows when she gets shot back in time. And she keeps meeting up with this one boy throughout his life. So big life events happen every time she gets sent back. I loved this book. It was so good. And again, the audiobook was so good. It was written in the 80s. I don't understand how Octavia E. Butler, she wrote books in like the 70s, 80s, 90s that are still so relevant today. And did she have a time machine? Could she see the future? I don't know. But she's a wonderful writer. I love her take on subjects, and she just writes. It's so engaging. I didn't want to stop listening to this audiobook. Loved the characters. There is a TV show on Hulu. I watched like the first couple episodes. I watched it right after I finished reading this book, and it was okay. What I didn't like about it is that it's been modernized. So I'm pretty sure it's set in like the 2020s. And it just, I don't feel like it has as big of an impact as the book does, because again, an interracial couple in the 1970s obviously has a much bigger impact on society than modernizing it. They also changed some of the relationships in the book, but or in the TV show, they changed some of the relationships between the characters. So I didn't watch it. I didn't finish watching it. I only watched a couple episodes. But the book, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And I think I've read 3 Octavia E. Butler books now. I highly recommend starting with Kindred because I feel like it was easily accessible. The writing was easily accessible. And again, the audiobook was fabulous. And it was just, I don't know, it blew me out of the water. The last book I read was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I'm not sure I have her name written down here. Pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. I could be very, very wrong. In this, you are following a girl who is a witch, and the world is not supposed to know about witches. In this world, when more than one witch are together, like, magic becomes very noticeable. And so all the witches in this world convene for like monthly meetings, but they stay separate during their days and during their lives, because when too many of them come together, things happen and they don't want the world to know about them. Well, our main character, whose name I can't remember, of course, because why would I? And did I look it up? Absolutely not. Why would I do that? Our main character has been posting YouTube videos of her doing magic she's been posting Instagram videos of her doing magic because she just assumed that everyone would assume that it was fake. And so she doesn't think that she'll be found out as a witch. Well, then she gets a call from a person who's like, yeah, we know you're a witch, and we have these 3 witchy babies, these 3 kids, girls, who are also witches, and they need someone to train them. So come train these kids. And so she packs everything in her little car. She goes and trains these kids. It's found family. There's other people like the butler and the groundskeeper and one other, another teacher. The teacher is there, like an academic teacher, I think. And they all live with these 3 adopted girls in this mansion. It was super cute, super cozy. It is a romance. It is definitely grumpy sunshine, where she is super sunshiny and happy and positive, and he is super grumpy about everything. But I really liked this one. It's, yeah, just like a cozy fantasy romance, but not fantasy romance. Like, it's fantasy because it's about witches, but it's not like romantasy. It was adorable. I really liked it. I know that this author has at least one more book out. I have not read that yet. I hope to get to it soon. I just haven't picked it up. But if you're looking for something that's a little different, but still looking for like a cozy romance that has to do with witches, then I suggest you check this one out. And those are all the books that I read in March of 2023. I made it through this video. Don't know how long it's going to be. Sorry it was all over the place. My brain's not working. Again, my life has been insane. It is finally kind of calming down. I do have a week off of work right now, so I'm trying to get things caught up and back on track. So I apologize for being gone lately, but hopefully I can, get back to a more consistent schedule. So anyway, now I want to know, have you read any of these books? What did you think? All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.